Rabotai, welcome back to another class on Dalat Amot Shel Halacha. Elo LaKadosh Baruch Hu B'olama Ela Arba Amot Shel Halacha. Belvad, we are continuing in Siman Reish Tzadik Tet. Halacha Vav, this will be part 6 of the Shi'ur. We are still in the last Ramah where we started yesterday, but we are moving to the next phase in the Halacha of the Ramah, where the Ramah said, V'im en acherim etzlo. What happens if he does not have other people that are going to be able to do the Havdalah for him after Shabbat? Yachol Havdil b'Shabbat mid be'od yom v'lishtot. He's able to go ahead and do Havdalah during Shabbat itself and to drink the kos shel Havdalah. Comes the Mishnah Berurah and he says in Chav Bet, Hainu, when do we say you're allowed to go ahead and start doing the Havdalah? What does that mean during the day of Shabbat? Hainu acher plaga mincha. That means to say after plaga mincha, v'itpalal gam ken ma'ariv mikodem. Also, he's allowed to go ahead and daven Arvit prior to doing the Havdalah. But all this has to happen after plaga mincha. Ukedila'el b'siman reish tzad gimel, siv gimel, like it's brought down on top in siman reish tzad gimel, halacha gimel, that's 293, halacha 3. Now, when you look at this Mishnah Berurah, it seems very simple that you're allowed to go ahead and daven Arvit after Plaga Mincha and even do Havdalah, like he brings down over here. If we look into Siman Reish Tzad Gimel, it's not so simple. I have it on page 138, Rabotai. Yes, 138. The Shulchan Aruch says, Mishu Anus. If somebody is coerced, if somebody is forced against his will to do something on Shabbat. For example, he says, Kigon, Shetzarich lahachshich ala tuchum l'dvar mitzvah. He needs to go ahead and he needs to wait until the sun sets by the city limit for a mitzvah. Now, if you guys are aware, this is where Aaron, Masechet Aaron goes into play. If you guys are aware of what does tuchum mean, tuchum means the end of the city limits after the city itself. So, let me see something. Let me see if I can do this. Okay. So I have like this, Rabotai. It works like this. What is tuchum? What is the definition of tuchum? The definition of tuchum is the end of the city limits after the city itself. That means in the city you would have houses. It's very hard to say today because there's so many houses around us. So you probably think that this halacha doesn't apply. If you ever go upstate, Pennsylvania, like these places where they have houses, you have one house here, and then the next house you don't have for another, who knows how long, a half an hour drive, an hour drive. Over there, the people that live in that kind of area, they won't be able to walk more than 2,000 Amot from their house. So just imagine like this. Let's just imagine like this. Let's say we're right now in Pennsylvania. I went one time upstate to one of the students' house. So let's say his house is right over here. The next house is right over here. But the distance between these two is an hour. Doesn't take me to walk an hour. It's more than 2,000 amot. That means if his house is over here, he can only go up to here 2,000 amot. That's it. He can't go more. That means even if he wanted to take a walk one step outside of the tuchum, it's going to be asur. So that's why Rabotai, these things apply actually more out of state where the houses are isolated. But where you have, like if you were ever in Israel, You have every block is another block, but they're very confined. The houses are very crowded in one place. Then the next house you won't have for another, who knows, 30-minute drive, 20-minute drive. But the point is, if the next house is not until the 2,000 Amot mark, it's a problem. You can't walk outside of that. So let's just look at it like this. If there are houses, we take the last house on the city limit. We count 2,000 Amot. It's about 3,500 feet. They used to have, the Gemara Masechet Eruvin says, they used to have people that used to mark the spot up to where you can walk on Shabbat. I'm not talking about carrying from one domain to another. No, I'm speaking about walking alone without carrying anything. You wouldn't be able to walk more than 2,000 Amot from the last house in the city. So let's say the Techum is over here. What is Shulchan Aruch telling us now? Somebody had to go, let's say, had to do a mitzvah right immediately after Shabbat, and he was pressed for time. You tell him right now, okay, listen, do Havdalah after Shabbat, daven Arvit after Shabbat, do everything normally. By the time when he's going to get over here, it's going to be late. The mitzvah is going to pass, or he's not going to make it, whatever the situation might be. We're going to allow him to go ahead and daven Arvit during the day, and we're going to allow him to go ahead and do the Havdalah during the day, like the Mishnah said in Simchat Chav Bet, specifically when? After Plaga Mincha. So after Plaga Mincha, if you went and he did Arvit and Havdalah, now has a lot of time. Now he can start walking till the end of the city limit, meaning to the end of the mark of the 2,000 Amot. Then he's going to wait until Shabbat is going to set in, until sun is going to set, the 3 stars are going to come out, and now he's allowed to go ahead and take that extra step and come outside of the city limit. This is what he's speaking about over here. You know, an interesting halach would be now, just came to me right now, light bulb. A person has to catch a plane on Motzei Shabbat, right? Let's say the Shabbatot are late and your flight is early. Let's say your flight is 9 o'clock and Shabbat is out at 8 o'clock or even 7 o'clock. So if you're going to have to go ahead and daven Arvit in Shul with the minyan and then go ahead and do the Havdalah, by the time you do all that, you might not make it. I'm not going to tell you about it's in mutar, but it's something to consider because I don't want to just get into the technicalities of it. But there would be space for room to go ahead and try to gather a minyan, or maybe even down by yourself, as we'll see, because not so pashut. Maybe daven by yourself, yeah, more likely to daven by yourself, as you'll see what the Achronim are going to conclude. They're going to tell you it's not good to daven on Shabbat, the Arvit prayer. So probably it would be better that you daven by yourself. Go home, so now you're already home. All you're doing is you're waiting until Shabbat comes out. Once Shabbat comes out, or even better yet, Rabotai, no, you don't have to do it in this case, no, because you're still home. Because I was going to say you could even do the Havdalah without the candle, as we'll see, and without the Besamim. Do the Havdalah, then get in the car, and then do the candle and the Besamim later on throughout Saturday night, if you're going to have it then and there. But I'm just trying to bring out a point. It's a very good question, which now I have to try to see to it. Maybe I want to look into it, Billy Nether. I think that would probably be the halacha. I'm just thinking right now. Just give me 1 second. If a person has to go catch a plane and we're afraid that he's going to miss it, are we going to tell him to daven by himself before Shabbat is over, after Plaga Mincha, let him daven Arvit? And let's say if by doing Havdalah that's also going to consume time, we will probably allow him to also do the Havdalah. And then once Shabbat is out, we'll tell him just get in the taxi or Uber or whatever it is and just go to the airport. It's a good question to think about. Rabotai, you know something? Let me look into it. It just came to me right now. Over here, he's giving us one question. Over there is another question. In any event, Rabotai, you see, because this is what you have to do. You have to compare and contrast. In my humble opinion, the way I see it, that you would be allowed to do it. It's just, again, I want to see other poskim say it. So don't rely, Rabotai, until I'm 100%, until I sourced it 100%. Okay. Rabotai, back into the Shulchan Aruch. In Siman the Gimel Halacha Gimel says, Mi shehu anus, if somebody is coerced, kigon, for example, shetzarich la'achshich ala tuchum l'davar mitzvah. He needs to go ahead and he has to wait by the tuchum, by the end of the 2,000 mark limit. If he has to wait over there until the sun sets because he has to go ahead and do the mitzvah. Yachol litpalel shel Motzei Shabbat miplag mincha ulemayla ulahavdil miyad. He's able to go ahead and daven the prayer of Motzei Shabbat from plag mincha and up and do havdalah immediately. That's the halacha in the Shulchan Aruch. Aval lo yivarech al haner. You're not allowed to bless on the candle. V'chen asur ba'asiyat malacha atzet kochavim. And so too, you're not allowed to go ahead and do any form of malacha until the stars come out. Comes the Ramah says, V'nohagim lomar v'hu rachum u'berachu be'arichut no'am. There are customs that they say, when we're saying v'hu rachum mechaper avon, and the word baruchu et Hashem ha'mevarach, they say it in a pleasant tone and they prolong it. Kedei lo'osiv mechol ala kodesh, because we want to add from the mundane to the kodesh. We want to give more kiddusha to the mundane. Rabotai, very interesting minhag that he says. And by the way, we'll see what we say over here. But it's interesting because on Motzei Shabbat, we rush. Right? Arvit of Motzei Shabbat is very different than Arvit of Shabbat, where we take our time. It's different than Shacharit of Shabbat. We take our time. Different than Mincha of Shabbat. We take our time. And then when comes Arvit of Motzei Shabbat, we show Hashem what we're really thinking about that. We got to run. We don't got no time for this right now, right? Fast, Rabbi, fast. Fast, Rabbi, fast. You're 1 minute late. Whoa, you serious? Look what time. Yeah, so what's going to change by you? So you won't see the news until after Shabbat, 5 minutes late. What's going to happen? Nothing's going to happen. You can't do anything about it anyway. In any event. Rabbatai, so we see over here in the Shulchan Aruch, he says that if somebody had to go ahead and wait by the Tuchum, he's allowed to go ahead and daven the Motzei Shabbat prayer from Plag Mincha and on to do Havdalah immediately, but he's not allowed to go ahead and bless on the candle, and also he's not allowed to do any work until the 3 stars come out. And then we also said that the custom is that when the Chazan is saying Hurachum and Baruchu, he should say it, he should prolong it in order to be able to add from the Chol on to the Kodesh. Okay, if we look into Sivkat and Tet in the Mishnah Berurah, again, why did we come over here? I wanted to show you something. I hope you guys didn't lose the train of thought. The Mishnah Berurah Sivkat and Chavbet in Siman Reish Tzadik Tet said that you're allowed to go ahead and do Havdalah after Plag Mincha, and you should also go ahead and daven Arvit before. And he said, look into Siman Reish Tzadik Gimel Halacha Gimel. From here, it's implied that you could do this without a problem. Over here, he's saying that it's a case where it's out of your control, where you really have to go ahead. If you're not going to be able to daven Arvit later, you're not going to be able to do Havdalah later. So, like, let's give you the case of the airport. You could use this halacha. But, Rabotai, if you look into the Mishnah Berurah Sivkat and Tet, there's a very big problem over here. The Achronim don't like this halacha so much. Let me read it for you inside. He says, Umikol makom, Sivkat and Tet, where it says, Yachol v'chulu, Umikol makom, nevertheless, katvu ha'achronim de'en la'asot ken. The Achronim wrote that one shouldn't do so. One shouldn't go ahead and start davening Arvit on Shabbat itself. The davar tamuhu l'rabim, because it's something that is shocking to the many people. Gam shema yavola kel b'malacha, we are also afraid maybe you're going to come to be lenient by performing forbidden malachot on Shabbat, because you thought you davened Arvit, and by accident you're going to go now turn on the light or use your phone or whatever the situation might be. If you look into the Tzionim in Rabbi Dahan Sefer, in Halacha number 3, he says, V'chen katav Yalkut Yosef, Rabbi Yitzchak Yosef Shita also wrote the same thing, Shelechatchila en ra'ui litpalel Arvit, ulahavdil miplag mincha ulemayla lechatchila Rabotai. But look at the case that he's giving you, Chas v'shalom, alone in Rabotai. According to this, the airport case is out, because look at the case. Look what the situation is giving you. He says initially the best way is not to go. The best way is not to go ahead and daven Arvit and to do Havdalah from Plag Mincha and on the day of Shabbat. Rak, only when can you use this leniency of the Shulchan Aruch? Rak lemi sheniftar lo chas v'shalom aleinu echad mikrovav b'Shabbat. if somebody lost a family member on Shabbat, he's not going to be buried until Sunday lo leinu. If you're not going to go ahead and do Arvit and Havdalah before the night, because you're not going to be able to go ahead and say Arvit or even say Havdalah as long as the Chas v'Shalom lo leinu, that person is not buried, because now he is in the stage of Onen, and Onen is a person that is potter from mitzvot. So that's a Rav Yitzchak Yosef's case is very, very, wow, this is something, an eye-opener. He says, look into V'chen Katav Kavachaim, V'or L'Tzion. Well, you have to understand. The Shulchan Aruch says, if somebody has a certain situation where it's out of his control, he's allowed to go ahead and do it. The Mishnah Berurah says, Achronim say, don't do it. Comes Rav Yitzchak Yosef, L'chatchila, don't do it to one, and he gives you an example. To one of Chas v'Shalom, he lost a member of the family, lo later, that if they're not going to bury him immediately on Shabbat, where he can go ahead and then down Arvit and do Havdalah, but rather they're going to bury him on Sunday. So this type of person, let him go ahead and do Havdalah and down Arvit after Plaga Mincha on Shabbat itself, because otherwise they're not going to be able to do the mitzvah. Wow, it's a very big, it's a very big question now. It's a very, very, why is he giving me such an extreme case? The Shulchan Aruch didn't give me such an extreme case. The Shulchan Aruch said, L'dvar mitzvah. Rabbi said, I'm just thinking right now. Can we use, according to Rav Yitzchak Yosef Shlita, the case of davening Arvit, the case of trying to catch a plane and davening Arvit in shul early, maybe it won't apply now. Why? Why won't it apply? Very simple. Who told you have to daven Arvit? Go ahead. You really have to run? No problem. Don't daven Arvit. Wait until Shabbat is mamish over. Get in the car. Say Baruch HaMavdil Ben Kodesh L'Chol. Get in the car. Daven Arvit by yourself in the, what do you call it? In the airport. Or maybe take with you a cup of wine if they're not going to allow you to have candles over there, or at least to imagine and besamim. There is a way to go around it for. This is a very important halacha, by the way. The reason why I'm delving into it so much, because this halacha I get many times. People Motzei Shabbat need to fly away, and I don't know how people they do it. They do it at the time, not now, because now Shabbat comes out early, but in the summer when the Shabbat is late. People go mamish right after Shabbat, an hour after Shabbat, 2 hours after Shabbat. Okay, you know what I'll do, B'lineder? Because from Rav Yitzchak Yosef and from the Achronim, the Mishnah Berurah, if I can find a way how to go ahead and down Arvit in the airport and to do Havdalah in the airport, there's no reason for me to go ahead and do anything early because it's not good. Yeah, you have to say that. Do you know why? Because the Mishnah Berurah Simchat Dechet, he says that he's speaking about specific Umar Shesham Lo Yimutzolo Kos Lahavdil Alav. He's speaking about a case, that this case of the mitzvah where he wants to go ahead and wait by the city limit, by the end of the city limit, by the 2,000 Amot mark, he's speaking about that he knows he's not going to be able to find over there a cup. Okay. Yeah, okay, Rabotai. Alright, we'll have to retract that ruling then. From the Achronim and from Rav Yitzchak Yosef Shlita, we have to say like this, that if a person is forced to go ahead and to go to the airport, not to do Arvit during the day of Shabbat, and not to do Havdalah during the day of Shabbat, meaning after Plaga Mincha, rather, once Shabbat comes out, if he's not going to be able to daven with the minyan, and he doesn't even have time to do the Havdalah, I mean, how long can it take you to do the Havdalah? Let's say he's not going to have time, whatever the situation might be, we're going to tell him, like the Halacha we'll see later on, and Siman Reish Tzadik Tet, we're going to tell him that he and his family members, everybody, when Shabbat comes out, they should all say, Baruch HaMavdil Ben Kodesh L'Chol, get to the airport, get inside the what do you call that, the terminal, and then over there, once you're ready by your terminal, go ahead and daven Arvit. If you're able to find 10 men, that would be great. If not, then you'll have to end up davening by yourself. Also, if you're able to go ahead and do Havdalah there, that shouldn't be a problem. So that would be the case. Wow. See, Rabotai, when you learn, new chidushim come out every single time. My next question will be over here is another question. This all halacha I speak about after Plaga Mincha during the day you should be doing Arvit and doing Havdalah. But what happens when we are Ben Hashmashot? Because remember, right, Ben Hashmashot after sunset, because we still wait. Let's see this 1 second. Let's see this. Let me see something. I want to see something. Wow, I think over here you would be allowed to be lenient. 1 second, even with a minion. Just give me 1 second. Because right now, everything we're discussing right now is speaking specifically about the situation where you're davening Arvit and doing Havdalah on Shabbat day. Bimidaik in the word on Shabbat day. But what happens if it's not Shabbat day? Let's see this 1 second. Let's say we know, like Rabotai, right? We're read in Parshat Vayesha, right? I think in Parshat Vayesha. Vayesha was last week. Vayesha was this week. So 4:10 is candlelighting. 5:10, I'm going with the halacha times. 5:10 is Shabbat. 4:10 is candlelighting. That means at 4:28 is sunset. Let's see over here. 4:28 is sunset. Give me 4:40 because right now the Shaw's Maniot are around 11-12 minutes. So let's see by 4:40. Wow. So that's after twilight already. We still hold it until wow. Okay, 1 second. Rabotai, watch this. Oh, this is a good halacha. I still gotta double check it. I'm learning with you guys. 4:10 is candlelighting. 4:28 is sunset. If 4:10 is candlelighting, Shabbat comes out. I'm not talking about Rabbeinu Tam. I'm going according to the Geonim. 4:10 is candlelighting. 5:10 Shabbat comes out. Say a person has to leave his house at 5:10, whatever it is. His parents are not going to tell him to wait. His wife is anxious. The whole world is burning because they have to make it to the airport. I don't know. They have to leave 5:10. There's no way they're going to be able to wait another second. Okay. We're going to give him, right around 4:28 is sunset. This whole halacha of the Shulchan Aruch is that you shouldn't be doing it before this time. But the question right now is, doing Ben Hashmashot, I mean, you have to 5:10. There's no reason for you to do doing Ben Hashmashot. Probably will also be lenient over here because Safik Yom, Safik Laila. Since davening's on the Rabban, will be lenient. But I'm speaking about right over here now, 4:40. Over here, there will be a good chance that you'll be able to daven Arvit even with a minyan at 4:40. And then you could even do the Havdalah because it's already night. Wow, without the candle and the besamim. And only then, Rabotai, once Shabbat 5:10 comes out, then Rabotai, you can go ahead and do the malacha. You could drive out. You know something? I'll tell you this. I have you know something. Let me run this halacha by a certain posik, and I'll get back to you. In my humble opinion, I think this is going to be fine. Even during Ben Hashmashot, I think it's going to be fine because the situation that we're dealing over with is during the day of Shabbat, and I took it out of the day of Shabbat, so I think that shouldn't be a problem. Wow, beautiful, Rabotai. Your zuchut, you guys don't understand. When you learn out loud, when you do it for the public, HaKadosh Baruch Hu plants. He plants for you ideas. It's nuts. Like you would have never thought about it. You know, Baruch Hashem, I started doing Masechet Berachot, right? The Gemara journey with Rashi, and it's nuts, Rabotai. B'lein Har Hashem gave me the opportunity to be able to do it more than 3 times already, and especially, you know, going over and over. Like you ask yourself, how much more chidushim can you find in the Gemara that you're going over and over again, right? Believe it or not, Rabotai, almost every time. I would love to say every time. There's something new that pops out that I didn't see the time before. Almost every time, Rabotai. So, it's called the Zikroy Arabim. It's called the merit of the public. You help them, Hashem helps you back. He allows you to understand. People think that by teaching other people, it takes away time from them so they can learn on their own. On the contrary, you teach other people, Hashem is going to open your mind to be able to learn the Torah at a broader sense where you didn't see things before you started teaching other people. Because the zichut of the Rabbim helps the person. That's what they say. They say there was a story with Chacham Ovadia that he wanted to write books. He wanted to write books. And he didn't want to go from place to place to teach Torah to people. He wanted to sit and write books. I forgot who came in his dream. I think it was the Ben Shai. I'm not really sure. I don't recall the story. And they told him, no, go ahead and give the Shu'urim publicly, give the Torah publicly, and Hashem will give you the Siyata Shema to continue writing your books. And he said that Torah is at the highest level. Talmud Torah kineged kulam. But he said there's something that stands on top of Torah that nothing else can stand on top of that. What is that, Rabotai? Zikui harabim. Meriting the public. Giving them the opportunity to learn Torah. He said that stands higher than learning Torah. You do for Hashem, Hashem will do back for you. It's very amazing. You know something? It's very amazing. That's why, Rabotai, with all these today, they have, Baruch Hashem, they have all these people send you small video clips or halacha or musar or something. You watch it, that's it. No, not you watch it, that's it. Send it to people. Even they're going to listen, not listen. Send it. You never know. One day they're going to open up the chat. They're going to go on the link. Bam! They're going to hear the rabbi say something that's going to ignite them to do teshuvah. You don't know about it. You don't know nothing, Rabotai. You come to the next world after 120 years of age. You see all these mitzvot that you never did. You see all this reward. So what's all this? You remember you sent one click? That one click got you this kind of olam haba. What do people think? Okay, so I listen to Shua, I listen to Halacha, okay. Send it out. You got inspired? Send it out, Rabotai. Send it out. Zikui Harabim stands on top of Torah. Okay. Wow, I don't even know how many minutes I'm in already. Okay. And anyway, let's just continue. We gotta finish. I gotta do the Sivkat Chavbet. Now, we see from over here, from the Achronim and from Rav Yitzchak Yosef Shlita, Lechatchila, one shouldn't do Arvit after Plag HaMincha and Avdallah then. He shouldn't do it. If he doesn't have to, Rabotai, the best way is not to do it. Fine. Then we said, the next piece, then we said that one shouldn't bless on the candle if he's going to do Havdalah after Plag HaMincha in the ways that is permitted. So if you look, Rabotai, into Otehei Amudei Hora'ah, he says, V'chen lo yivarech al ha-bisamim b'shad Havdalah kishem kodem hashekha. So too, one shouldn't bless on the bisamim at the time when you're doing Havdalah before night. Why? Mishum hefsik, because of an interruption. Lo shaykha adalayla, because really the bisamim is not, bisamim has nothing to do for Shabbat. It's after Shabbat, like we saw previously. It's to return your soul back to you, because you have two souls. One soul leaves you, so you feel down, you feel depressed. So you do the besamim, so it revives you. That's if you pay attention. A lot of times people, Amot Shabbat, they want to go out. Let's go eat. Let's do this. Let's go out. Let's do this. Why? Because they feel a sense of emptiness. That's why. Learn Torah Rabota, you won't have the sense of emptiness. Fine. Okay. He says also, Chacham Avad, he also brings it down in Sefer Avilut Chalak Aleph. Okay, fine. Did he die? Okay. Rabotai. All right. Now, one more Amudei Hora'ah, and then we'll get back to Sivkat and Chavbet in the Mishnah Berura. The Ramah said that Nohagim, that the custom is, Nohagim Lomar V'hurachum, that the people that have the custom of saying V'hurachum and Ubaruchu, one second, let me read this one more time. Nohagim Lomar V'hurachum Ubaruchu B'arichut Noam. And he says that the custom should be to, when we say V'hurachum and the word Ubaruchu Hashem HaMevarach, we should say it, we should prolong it in a pleasant tune, in order to add from the chol onto the kodesh. Right? We want to still keep Shabbat as long as we can. Now, continues in the Amudei Hora'ah, in the Ot Vav. What are we going to hold, Rabotai? You might tell me, Rabbi, this is Ashkenazim. Let's see. Comes Rabbi Dan in Amudei Hora'ah in Ot Vav, and he says, when he says already that the Baruch Hu and should be prolonged in a beautiful tune, היינו שהחזן אומר ברוך הוא בתחילת התפילה עליו להאריך בברוך הוא ולהוסיף מחול על הקודש. כי מבואר באור זרוע. He says it's placed on the chazan to go ahead and say Baruch Hu in the beginning of the prayer, because it's really placed on him to say it. He's the one that should be lengthening on it to be able to go ahead and add from the mundane onto the Kodesh. והבן איש חי, and the Ben Ish Chai Katav wrote, שטוב שכל אדם יעריך בעניית ברוך Hashem המברך לעולם ועד בצאת השבת, when Shabbat comes out, וכן כתב בחזון עובדיה, and so too Chazon Ovadia wrote this, and also Yalkut Yosef wrote this, and also the Kaf HaChaim, all of them wrote it. Ben Ish Chai, Chacham Ovadia, Rav Yitzchak Yosef, and the Kaf HaChaim, all of them say that over here the Ramah is speaking about the minhag is that when the Chazan says V'hurachum and Ubaruchu, one more time, Rabotai. Over here the Ramah says when people say V'hurachum, but when it comes to Baruchu, Rabbi Dahan is bringing out that specifically to the Chazan that he should prolong it in a nice tune, but comes our poskim and they tell us that even for us, besides the V'hurachum that we're going to prolong, that we should also, when we're saying Baruch Hashem HaMavarach L'Olam Va'ed, over there also you want to go ahead and prolong it in order to be able to bring some sanctity into the regular weekday. And not Rabotai, and not, I'm telling you, it's a humongous problem. Baruch Hashem B'lei Hara, in my family, it's me and my wife that keep Rabbeinu Tam. I don't make my kids keep Rabbeinu Tam. They hold according to the Geonim. I try to teach the kids what the halacha requires of them. But in other B'ezrat Hashem, when they grow up and they're going to learn more, and when they get more halachot down, whatever, when they want to do more, when they get married, that's between them and their wives, B'ezrat Hashem, and their children. But as parents, don't put stringencies on your children, because when they're going to know what the halacha is, they could get upset with you and they're going to tell you, why did you obligate us when it's really you don't eat it? Rabotai, there's a lot of problems that come out of it. So why am I telling you this? For me, Rabotai, people that hold Rabbeinu Tam, for myself, for example, I hold Rabbeinu Tam, so there will be no difference if I will daven a long Arvit. It's not a problem. The problem is that when we daven in the synagogue, it's quick, so you got to try to keep up the pace with them. But in any event, we see from over here that it's very important, even after Shabbat came out, after you already finished Shul Shlishit, and now you come to Shul for Arvit, you want to go ahead, when you're saying Baruch Hashem HaMevarech L'Olam Va'ed, you want to try to prolong it and say it nicely and pleasantly, and don't rush, Rabotai. Don't rush. We show Hashem that we don't want to have Shabbat on us, Chas v'Shalom. Okay, now, Rabotai, let's get back to where we started. Okay, so let's do Simchat Chavbet one more time. Now we'll appreciate what the Mishnah Berurah says. So he says, when do we tell you you're allowed to go ahead and do Havdalah during the day of Shabbat? He says, that is after Plagam Mincha. V'itpalal gam ken ma'ariv mekodem, you should also down Arvit prior to doing Havdalah. U'k'tilal b'tzim reisad gimel sif gimel, like we saw in Halacha, like we saw above in the Siman 293, Halacha 3, but over there we saw machloket between the Shulchan Aruch and the Achronim. Okay, it's not so pashut, but let's go ahead and do this Halacha. Continues the Mishnah Berurah and he says, "Va'afilu hachim mutar lechov l'shot achar kach." Even so, in such a case, you're allowed to go ahead and eat and drink afterwards. That means you went ahead and you did Havdalah after Plagam Mincha, no problem. You're allowed to go ahead and eat and drink. It does not, Havdalah does not make you accept the fast of Motzei Shabbat on you on Shabbat. You're allowed to go ahead and eat and drink. V'lo amrina, we're not going to say the Kevin the Avdil, we're not going to say that since he already did Havdalah, Kvar kibel alav et hatanit, that he already accepted upon himself the fast. Vasur b'shtiya, and it's forbidden for him to drink. All this we're not going to say. Why? Mishum di ikar hatanit eno machmat chova. Because this tanit that he accepted upon himself is not because it's an obligation. Kitisha be'av. Ela machmat nidro, like Tisha B'Av, rather he's doing it because of the neder, like we saw in the Biur Halacha in part 5 of the Shiur, Rabotai. Appreciate the Biur Halacha, Rabotai. What did the Chafetz Chaim do for us? I can't emphasize it enough. I can't. So that's what he says. You cannot say that if a person goes ahead and he does Havdalah on Shabbat, that he has to go ahead and now he has to fast, he can eat and drink. No, that you cannot say. Why? Because this fast is only a fast like the Magen Avraham wanted to learn. It's a fast that's voluntarily that he took upon himself as a vow, as a custom to go ahead and fast, a 3-day fast after Shabbat. When it comes to vows, we go after the expression how people speak. When it comes to the expression of men, how do people say, when even after a person did Havdalah, what is it called after a person does Havdalah? It's called day. Rabotai, listen to this very carefully. What does this mean? It's in Masechet Nedarim, by the way. What does that mean that we go after the language of we go after the expression of people? What does that mean? When a person makes a vow, correct? He might have been thinking one thing, but we don't go after what he might have been thinking. We go after what would normal people say. So when a person when a person vowed to fast on Motzei Shabbat, so now when he does Havdalah after Plag Mincha on Shabbat, so by you thinking that once he did Havdalah, it's already night, it's already Shabbat, just like you do on Friday, on Erev Shabbat, you go ahead and you daven Arvit, even though it's still outside light, it's already Shabbat for you. So you would think over here, that period is already Motzei Shabbat, it's considered to be night, even though you're not allowed to do any malacha. Comes the Mishmur, tells you, no. If you ask any person what period, when you did the Havdalah after Plag Mincha, until sunset of Motzei Shabbat, right, until sunset of, until the Shabbat ends, what period is that called? Is it day or night? Everyone can tell it's day. So when you had the intention, when you made a vow that you're going to start fasting on Saturday night, that period from Plag Mincha until sunset is not considered to be night, it's considered to be day. So that's what we go after what the people say. So therefore you're allowed to go ahead and eat and drink. Rabotai, let's do that one more time. One more time, Rabotai. Even so, in such a case, you're allowed to go ahead and eat and drink after you did the Havdalah. We're not going to say we're not going to say that since you did Havdalah, you already accept upon yourself the fast and it's forbidden for you to drink. Because the main Tanit that you're doing now is not because it's an obligation on you like Tisha B'Av. Rather, it's because of a neder. Oh, it's because of a neder. When it comes to vows, we go after the expression of people. And if you're going to go after the expression of how people speak was day and night, after when you did Havdalah, that's still considered to be day. So therefore you are allowed to go ahead and drink and eat after you do Havdalah, after Plag Mincha, before sunset of Motzei Shabbat. Rabotai, if you look into Ot Lamed Gimel in Shar Tzion, where he says that you can compare this to Tisha B'Av, where it's an obligation. We saw this also in the Biur Halacha. He says, when Tisha B'Av falls out on Saturday night, you're not able to go ahead and make Havdalah on Saturday day after Plag Mincha, like we saw in the Biur Halacha. Why? Because when you're going to go ahead and do Havdalah during Shabbat after Plag Mincha, then it's going to be forbidden for you to drink. Then nechshav ki Kabbalah, because it's considered like you accept upon yourself the fast. Ukdilkam b'siman tav kuf nun vav b'magen Avraham. Like I said later on, in siman tav kuf nun vav in the magen Avraham. In any event, we see over here that there's a difference, like we saw in the Biur Halacha. There is a difference between an obligatory fast, like Tisha B'Av and Yom Kippur, versus a voluntary fast, like a person made the neder himself. So there is going to come out over here that if Tisha B'Av and Yom Kippur fall out on Motzei Shabbat, can you do Havdalah on Shabbat after Plag Mincha? Absolutely not. By you going ahead and doing Havdalah after Plag Mincha, that Havdalah that you're doing, you're accepting with yourself, with that you are accepting on yourself the Tanit. That's what we're going to tell you. Push the Havdalah away until after Tisha B'Av or until after Yom Kippur. But when it comes to the neder case, to the voluntary case of fasting, over there we're going to tell you, if you have to, you are allowed to go ahead and do the Havdalah after Plag Mincha. Continues the Mishnah and he says, "V'hata'anit eino matchil elam mitechilat halayla." The fast begins only from the beginning of the night. Ve'efshar, and it's also possible, shegam b'ben hashmashot shehu safek laila. It's also possible that also on ben hashmashot you wouldn't be allowed to go ahead and eat, aval lo mikodim, but not prior to that. Again, why? Because we go after the language of the people. People consider after Plaga Mincha until sunset, closer to Mot Shabbat, that period we consider to be day. After sunset until already when Shabbat comes out, that's the 15-minute time. That Rabotai over there is a Safik Yom, Safik Laila. Maybe over there he's saying it's possible that it would be a sur for you to eat because people can also call that night. Okay, Rabotai? But earlier than that, meaning, but before sunset, are you allowed to go ahead and eat? Yes. The Ta'anit does not start before sunset. The Ta'anit, according to what the Mishnah wants to explain, he's saying that it's possible that it could even start after twilight, meaning after sunset. So he says over here, Vehu adin, same halach is going to apply. Keshemikabel alav ta'anit shel laila v'yom b'shari mehachol. Same halach is going to apply that if a person is going to accept upon himself to fast the night and the day of the weekday, gam ken en chal alav chol ta'anit mibod yom av shekvar hitpalal arvit. So over there we're going to tell you that the obligation of the ta'anit is not going to fall on you during the day, even if you already prayed Arvit. Like this. A person, I don't know, he saw a bad dream on Monday. Monday night he saw a bad dream. Tuesday morning he wakes up all shaking. Tuesday during Mincha he has to accept upon himself that he's going to fast Wednesday night and say he wants to fast Wednesday night and Wednesday morning. You know, it's bad. It doesn't come out good. No. I apologize because I'm going Hebrew English. One more time. Let's go back. One more time. A person saw a bad dream Monday night. He wakes up Tuesday all shaken up. He can't fast because he has to accept the fast the previous day before. So Tuesday during Mincha, he tells himself that Tuesday night he's going to fast and Wednesday morning he's going to fast until sunset. So he accepts upon himself the fast on Mincha. Even if he went ahead and accepted the fast on himself on Mincha, now he's going to go ahead and daven Arvit, but it's still day outside. He's davening Mincha and Arvit after Plaga Mincha before sunset. So we're going to tell him he's allowed to go ahead and eat until night. We're not going to go ahead and tell him that he has to stop eating once he davened Arvit. So one more time, but let's see that one more time inside. Vehu adin, the same halach is going to apply. Keshemikabel alav ta'anit shel laila v'yom b'shari mehachol. When a person accepts upon himself to fast the night and the day from the other weekdays, gam ken en chal alav chol ta'anit mi b'od yom av shekvar hitpalal arvit. Also, the obligation of fasting during the day is not going to fall on him, even if you already prayed Arvit. So we're going to probably have to go ahead and apply the case from before that during Ben Hashmashot, it will be like he said it's possible that also over there is going to be a source for him to go ahead and eat because Safik Yom, Safik Laila, or maybe we can actually say, let's see. Yeah, probably going to keep it like that. Let's keep it like that. But I'll double check this for us because you have to understand, since the fast is only the Rabban, not even the Rabban, he wants to fast for himself. So maybe we'll be lenient and we'll allow him to eat. Or we're going to say that maybe since it's Bemed night, so therefore if it's night, then if he accepted to eat, if he accepted to fast on the night, maybe then we're going to tell that he can't eat after sunset. Okay, Rabota, you know, I'm gonna have homework to do, B'li Neder. I'm going to try to go ahead and look up these two halachot. B'ezrat Hashem, B'li Neder. First halacha I want to try to look up is regarding the airplane. Can a person go ahead and do, can he daven Arvit and make his own minyan and do Havdalah over here after 4:40 or even during Ben Hashmashot? I want to see. And then also I want to try to find out, B'li Neder, if a person takes upon himself to fast the night and the day, are we going to tell him that even if he davened the... Okay, 1 second, I just have to make sure it's visual. 1 second. In English, it doesn't come out very well. You understand? In Hebrew, I can tell Yom Rishon, Yom Sheni, Leil Sheni, but I'm not sure how many people are going to understand it. So let's do this. Okay. The other halacha we want to see is like this. A person went to sleep Monday night. He had a very bad dream. He woke up trembling. He was very scared. He had a very bad dream. Now, by the way, Basai Berachot says if you ever have these kind of dreams, it depends what time of the day, when it came. But it's very important to know that if you ever want to, if you want to interpret it for the better, don't ever tell your dreams to enemies, because if whatever way they're going to interpret, the Gemara says that it could chas v'shalom come true. So there we are. You want to go to a person that's going to be able to interpret the dream for a good way. You know, there was once a case. Rabbi David told me somebody saw a dream. He saw a dream that in his dream they were saying Kaddish. So he went and he asked his friend, "What does that mean?" Right? So the guy said he's going to die. Chas v'shalom. So he was shaking. He was really scared. So when he came to the rabbi, he said, "No, that's not Peshat. You know what the Peshat is? The Peshat is when a person says Yehei Shmei Rabbah Mevarach with all his strength, they rip up 70 decrees, 70 years of bad decree in Shamayim. So they ripped up all the bad decrees from you. It's how you interpret the dream, Rabbi. That's how it's going to go. Even though the Gemara says a lot of dreams that we see today is it's because from what we eat, what we think. So it's not, there's not much meaning. In any event, a person went to sleep Monday night, he had a bad dream, he wakes up Tuesday morning, shaking, trembling, he doesn't know what to do with himself. He accepts upon himself by mincha that he's going to fast on Tuesday night and Wednesday day until sunset. But he decides to daven over here at Arvit. He has another 40 minutes or 30 minutes to go before sunset. We said he's allowed to eat. The question is going to be what I want to try to go ahead and look up. What about during Ben Mashot? Are we going to give him that also to eat? Or are we going to say, just like by the Shabbat case, that we're going to tell him that it's considered night, it's a sur, so it's over here is going to be a sur. So therefore it's going to be big nafkamina. Does you have extra 15 minutes to eat or not? So B'ezrat Hashem, that I'm going to try to go ahead and answer. Before we do wrap up, let's go over some review. Let's do a small review. Okay. Whoa. Okay. We started speaking about that if you don't have other people that are going to be able to do Havdalah for you after Motzei Shabbat is out, you're allowed to go ahead and do Havdalah during the day of Shabbat. The Mishnah said after Plagim Mincha, and also you should daven prior to doing Havdalah. We saw in Siman the Gimel and Halacha Gimel to go ahead and daven and to do Havdalah after Plagim Mincha on the day of Shabbat itself. It is not a simple thing, even though the Shulchan Aruch says you're allowed to do it. The Achronim said you have to be, it's only in the pressing circumstance, like Rav Yitzchak Yosef Shita brought down. We also did see when it came to blessing on the candle and the besamim, if a person ends up saying Havdalah after Plagim Mincha on the day of Shabbat, we're going to tell him the Ner and the besamim he's not allowed to say. Also, this custom that when they're saying Hurachum and Baruchu, that the Ramah brought down that they should lengthen in it in order to be able to add Kiddusha to the mundane weekday. He says, we saw that our posting also the Ben Ishchai, they also in Chacham Ovadia, I believe it was Chazon Ovadia, they brought down over there. Let me just see. Yes, 1 second. Yeah, Chazon Ovadia and also Kavachim. Ben Ishchai, Chacham Ovadia, Al-Qud Yosef, and Kavachim. They all say that when it comes to Baruch Hashem, right? After he says, but when the Chazan says Baruch Hashem Barak, when we say Baruch Hashem Barak, you should go ahead and try to do it slowly because you want to add Kiddusha to the weekday. Then we saw again over in the Mishnah Berurah that by a person doing Havdalah after Plagim Mincha of Shabbat day, that does not forbid him from eating until after sunset. Then we saw that the Mishnah Berurah said that after sunset, it's possible that time would be asur for him to eat. For sure, once night hits, the fast kicks in. And also we saw another halacha that if a person wanted to fast during one of the days of the week, where he wanted to fast, like we gave this example over here, where he wanted to fast one night and one day, and he accepted upon himself the fast on Mincha, and then he davened Arvit after Plagim Mincha, he still has time until sunset. We saw over there that the Mishnah Berurah says the fast does not start until after nightfall. Our question was over there, is what about sunset? Do we also say sunset we're going to be machmir? Since it's Safik Yom, Safik Laila, we have a doubt, is it day or night? That I have to find out. And also the case with the aeroplane, if a person is allowed to go ahead and daven over here, I will also have to find out Be'ezrat Hashem for you guys. In any event, hope you guys enjoyed this class. Baruch Adonai Olam. Amen. Ve'amen.